Good morning, and thank you for joining us on After GMS. It is Monday, March 7th. I'm Tracy McCain here with Sydney Moore and meteorologist Ed Matthews. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm so excited to be here. Ed, good morning to you.
Good morning, everybody.
And of course, it's a good morning.
It is a great morning because we've had an excellent weekend of marvelous weather. It was so nice to go outside and see people walking and biking and having activities with their families.
And so exciting that today should be just like that as it was yesterday. But just like Ed was talking about, folks got to be aware of that pollen that's out there as well too.
Yeah, we got a lot of things that we're going to be watching. The pollen, strong winds this afternoon, and the possibility of maybe a few strong or severe storms between about 5 p.m. and about 9 p.m. Most of the action out of here just after 9 o'clock. Now, not much wind out there now, but there are some wind gusts around. Earlier, Raleigh had a wind gust of 30 miles per hour. Right now, at 26 mile per hour wind gust, 22 mile per hour wind gust in Asheboro, 18 mile per hour wind gust in Lexington. You can see a 28 mile per hour wind gust over in Reidsville. As our strong cold front gets closer, the winds are going to only increase. And through the afternoon and into the evening, we could have some really strong environmental winds associated with the approach of this cold front. I say environmental winds because we're talking about a large geographical area. These are non-storm winds that are not concentrated in a thunderstorm, but they cover a large geographical area. So a 45, 50 mile per hour wind gust would be enough to cause some power outages across the Piedmont. So keep that in mind again for the afternoon and into the evening hours. It'll be the evening when the cold front will be moving through the area. It's bringing showers and scattered thunderstorms and some heavy downpours and gusty winds out over the Tennessee and Ohio Valley. It'll move through our area this evening. We move the model up to about 7 o'clock, and there's not a lot of activity, but certainly any storms bear watching for maybe some straight line wind damage. But I'm more concerned about the environmental winds that may top out near 50 miles per hour. So that is something that we're going to be watching minute by minute, hour by hour as the cold front gets a little closer. High pressure offshore and the approaching cold front is producing a pressure gradient or pressure difference between the two systems, and that's what drives the wind. It's kind of putting a squeeze on the atmosphere. We'll reach the low 80s today. Our standing record is 81. We'll try to tie it or even set a brand new record, but it is going to be cooler tomorrow. This particular model clears us out later tonight and tomorrow. Any clearing won't last very long because on the southern end of this front, a wave of low pressure will develop and track along the front, spread more rain into the Piedmont for Wednesday night, and early on Thursday. That'll be a chilly rain as temperatures hover in the lower 50s on Wednesday. The severe weather outlook from the Triad and points on to the west, slight risk, that is level 2 on the severe weather scale. East of the Triad over to Raleigh-Durham, it's a marginal risk, level 1 for severe storms. So stay with us through the afternoon and into the evening. If any watches or warnings are issued, of course, we'll certainly let you know about that. 7-day forecast around 80, 82 for the high today. We'll keep an eye on those strong winds this afternoon and evening as scattered showers and a few isolated storms move in. Again, the time frame between about 5 p.m. and about 9 p.m. this evening. Tomorrow is just going to be cooler. I think some extra clouds, but we'll see what happens. I say clouds, the model says clearing out. We'll see what happens. 57, the high coming up tomorrow. That wave of low pressure approaches, and whatever happens tomorrow, the clouds are going to come back in and bring us about a 70% chance of a chilly rain on Wednesday and Wednesday night. We even have a chance of showers into Friday and hopefully drying things out a bit as we head into the upcoming weekend.
All right, we have some conversations later, but right now, breaking news in Winston-Salem. A police investigation has closed parts of US 52. We have learned 4 people were shot on the highway. 2 of them have died.
That's right. WFMY News 2's Itanise McMiller has been on top of this story all morning long. She's live in Winston-Salem with what else we need to know.
Yes, well, Winston-Salem police have their street crime forensics team and patrol officers all out here. They've been here for more than 7 hours and are continuing to piece together what happened. We are told that we are seeing that they are scattered along North Liberty Street here. They're placing crime scene markers and using other tools to find out what led to this double homicide. The lieutenant in charge of this investigation tells me a little after 11:30 last night, they received several calls from folks in the community about someone being shot on North Liberty Street. And when they arrived, they found 5 people inside of a crashed vehicle. Investigators say 4 of the people had been shot. 2 of them have died. Investigators are not yet releasing their identities publicly, but say it's a female and a male who died. We are working to learn more about the other 2 victims' conditions. Officers are still early in their investigation, and they say this all began on Highway 52. People in one vehicle were shooting at folks in another. That vehicle being shot then left the highway and crashed here on North Liberty Street. Police say there is no danger to the public at this point.
It is very disturbing to hear about something like that. It's very dangerous. Obviously, vehicles traveling at highway speeds, anything could happen. So that just makes things a lot more dangerous. Yeah, we're still searching for the persons responsible for it. We do not believe that it's a random act.
And investigators say that this is an isolated incident. And as you can see, there is a lot of activity going on here on North Liberty Street, and there will be for some time. There's also a good amount of officers out on Highway 52 south from Akron Drive to Northeast Boulevard. So expect to be rerouted there as well, because both of these areas will be shut down for some time. So if you can find an alternate route.
All right, thank you, Itanise. Our other top story this morning, the potential for severe weather tonight in the Triad. Not right now, but as it happens, it's always kind of warmer in the day, and then that kind of leads us into the potential for severe weather at night. You know that pattern, Ed Matthews.
Very well.
So it is Severe Weather Preparedness Week in our state, and we have to stress how critical it is to have a plan in place and know where to go in case potentially dangerous weather happens.
That's right. So we want you to send your severe weather questions for North Carolina. Ed will try to address them in a moment. But first, let's take a look at this damage here in central Iowa. A series of deadly tornadoes killed 7 people over the weekend. More than 50 homes were either damaged or destroyed by the storms.
An estimated EF3 tornado ripped through Madison County, Iowa Saturday. Winds reaching over 200 miles an hour. 50 miles southeast of Des Moines in Lucas County was also hit by a twister. So Ed, we want to review here the difference between a watch and a warning. These are 2 very different words that people get confused all the time, but the difference is knowing when to go inside your home and seek cover.
Yeah, and I want to point out that system that moved through Iowa, the leftovers of that system is what we're going to be dealing with later today and into the evening hours. In a much weakened state, we don't anticipate tornadoes, but we always keep an eye on the possibility. The tornado threat is never absolute zero when you're dealing with severe storms across the area. But let's talk about that terminology, because it's very important to know a watch means conditions are favorable for the development of severe weather. In other words, the ingredients are in the atmosphere, but so far nothing has developed. Now, a warning is when you really need to take action, and take action quickly and implement that severe weather game plan that hopefully you already have in place. If you don't, get busy and put one in place, because a warning implies that severe weather is occurring. It's happening. So a watch, we just hang out, go about our business. Keep an eye on WFMY News 2, and we keep you updated. But when you hear us talking about a warning, whether it be a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning, a flash flood warning, or anything like that, warning means that dangerous weather is actually occurring. Now, if we do have severe weather, let's talk about where you would go in your home. And review this with the rest of your family members. Let's talk about the places not to go. Not into the highest level of your house. Go low is the term that you need to remember. If you have a basement, that is an ideal place to go to be safe. Also, you want to stay out of rooms that have windows. Of course, with flying debris outdoors, the possibility that the winds could shadow and the winds could blow that glass onto you and cut you severely. Of course, don't be outside. That's pretty much a given. If you don't have a basement, an interior closet is a great place to go as well. If you live in a modular home or a mobile home, the best thing to do is to just get out and go to a neighbor's place. And you talk about this with your neighbor well before you ever have severe weather in your backyard. You get the game plan going. That's part of the game plan. You know, talk to your neighbors. Can I run in your house when threatening weather is approaching? Because I'm, of course, living in a mobile home. Not a safe place to be.
And that was one of the questions that Lakaya had about mobile homes during especially windstorms or thunderstorms that have a lot of wind. Can you talk about the difference between like tornado force winds and straight line winds? I feel like sometimes people don't take straight line winds as seriously, but they can cause a lot of damage.
Oh yeah, both. Both can cause, destruction in the areas that they cross. First of all, tornado is rotating wind. You have updrafts in a thunderstorm and downdrafts. And if the conditions are just right and we have wind shear or shifting winds with height, you can get that rotation going. Funnel cloud when it's above ground, that's where we want them to be, above ground, but as soon as it hits land and moves across the landscape, it's considered a tornado. Straight line winds are those downdrafts that blow that wind to the surface and blow it out in one direction, not necessarily rotating, but expanding out in one direction. And they can cause a tremendous amount of damage. It doesn't have to be a tornado for you to get significant damage. So whether there's a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning, you go to that safe place in your residence.
Now, Ed, some folks might find themselves on the roads, unfortunately, when these tornadoes come through. What's the best thing to do if you find yourself on the road and a tornado comes?
Well, definitely pull on the side of the road and get out of the car. I have heard, and I'm not so sure how safe this is, I think it's pretty safe. If you happen to be near an overpass, you can, get under the overpass in a protective area there. But the important thing is to park the car, get out of the car. If there's no overpass or anything like that, the best thing to do is to get in a ditch on the side of the road. Make sure you hold your hands over your head because of flying debris. You want to protect your head.
Absolutely. Someone described North Carolina weather as moody. So we have to adjust to all the feelings that North Carolina has. But when it's at its worst, Ed, we come on the air immediately to let people know where the storms or the threat could be. And that sometimes can take a while, 30 minutes or so, before that watch or warning expires. Right.
Yeah, and unfortunately, some people are not happy when we break programming and we're on for, an hour or two because tornado warnings keep coming. But it's our responsibility to get that information out. Now, we don't break programming during a severe thunderstorm warning. We put information on social media, and also we run informational crawls at the bottom of the screen. But when a tornado warning is issued, That is serious business. We have to break programming. It may not be impacting your area in a particular situation, but the next time it may be your neighborhood, and you'll be happy that we broke programming.
And Ed, along with of course, our News 2 weather app, I can imagine there are so many resources out there as well too. You know, we're a technology type of generation that folks can utilize if they find themselves in these types of situations.
Absolutely, and as a matter of fact, we're going to have a web story tomorrow because the North Carolina Severe Weather Preparedness Week kind of takes a topic each day and kind of lays it out and talks about it. So we'll have information on how you can get severe weather watches and warnings. Of course, you know, we have the EBS alert tone. You can hear it on the radio sometime in your car when you're driving, or we break programming here. We run information at the bottom of the screen, and of course in the event of a tornado, you know, we break programming. I would suggest that you spend the minimal amount of money, because they're really pretty cheap, and get a severe weather radio. A NOAA weather radio, because they alarm whenever a watch or warning is activated for your area. Also, you can get warnings and watches on your cell phone.
Yeah.
So there are many, and it didn't used to be that way. There were basically TV and radio were about the only way, and they're good sources because your forecast team is going to be here to guide you along and tell you how severe the situation is. But you know, it used to be just radio and TV, but now many other sources where you can get that information.
You know, we used to think of this as something that didn't happen here often, but recently we did see it happen and do see tornadoes that can be quite devastating. The one in Greensboro and Rockingham County was the most recent to my memory. There's also been so many in Surrey County and Stokes County, you know, towards our west. So Ed, one of the things that we think about when we think about tornadoes is being prepared. And that could mean having your shoes on, so that you can get out of your home, or having access to a vehicle that has gas in it, so that you can get out, or cash on hand, so that if there are several outages, that you can pay for things, a hotel, for instance.
And that's the reason you stay tuned to News 2, because as forecasting techniques get better and better, and we actually improve the accuracy of our forecast, and I think, quite frankly, we're pretty darn accurate now, but we are only getting better and better as we get more tools of the trade to help us make those forecasts. We're going to talk about the possibility of severe weather several days in advance before the event actually takes place. So that is when you get things together. Charge up your phone, get batteries, gas up the car, and all those things that you just mentioned, and many others, where you will be prepared. Now, quite often, just like today, severe thunderstorm, outlook for severe weather has been issued for later this afternoon and into the evening. That tells us that the ingredients are in the atmosphere for maybe the development of severe weather. But thankfully, quite often, when we have the severe weather outlook, nothing happens. There might be one element that doesn't mix in into the puzzle that would limit the threat of severe weather. But also, I've seen other times when it didn't look very much like severe weather, and boy, it got rough.
Yeah, and
so you got to take it. You got to take it seriously.
Exactly, taking it serious in regards to being prepared. But then that aftermath, as well too, Ed. Especially if you live in areas that have a lot of trees around your home as well too.
Yeah. Oh, well, absolutely. I mean, certainly with a tornado, I know viewers have heard me talk about the tornado that struck Sanford back in April of 2011. There were about 90 80-foot tall pine trees in my mom's backyard, and they were all just kind of screwed out of the ground. because of the wind circulation with the F3 tornado that went through, they were just lifted out of the ground. They have a relatively shallow root system, but nevertheless, don't ever underestimate straight line wind damage, but especially tornado wind damage as well. It can move vehicles, it can move 18-wheelers. Very powerful winds here.
Yeah. All right, Ed, I feel like the most educated non-meteorologist.
People are very appreciative
Yeah.
of what you've been saying, Ed, today.
Well, we're going to talk much more on this as we go through the severe weather season, which runs generally March to June. But don't be fooled, because we can have severe weather any time of the year. We can just as easily have severe storms in the winter season as well. So just keep that in mind. But we are moving in to the severe weather season right now.
All right, great way to start severe weather preparedness week. All right, let's go to our morning headlines now. Today, Piedmont Natural Gas will begin routine maintenance that could grab your attention, especially in the New Garden, Lawndale area of Greensboro. You could possibly see flames or maybe even hear loud noises over the next few weeks. The utility company says it is possible that it will need to burn off some excess gas from its lines, but they say this is safe and controlled and with the help of the fire department. North Carolina's COVID direction numbers are heading in the right direction. The latest data from the CDC shows most of the triad is now in orange. That means medium levels of community transmission. So in those places, the CDC says most people can drop their mask wearing in places that don't require it. If you're at high risk for severe illness, the CDC recommends you talk to your doctor before you take your mask off.
Now, you can order a second round of free at-home COVID tests from the federal government. The next orders will begin in a few days. You can get 8 tests total. During the first round of orders in January, 500,000 tests were available, but nearly half of those tests remain unclaimed. All orders will ship free. Well, downtown Greensboro wrapped up its first weekend of its new social district. There are rules with the new social district, though. Now, you can only carry drinks in special cups provided by participating businesses. It's valid from noon to 9 p.m. within the boundaries. Signage will tell you when you're getting close to that perimeter.
So remember the mornings, especially Saturdays, you would watch cartoons with a big bowl of your favorite cereal?
Absolutely.
Yes, of course. Well, if you haven't had a bowl of cereal in a while, you might want to grab one today because it is National Cereal Day.
Ooh, in honor of National Cereal Day, we want to know, what's your favorite cereal? Is it Lucky Charms, the Raisin Bran, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, or like me, Frosted Flakes?
Oh,
let us know in your comments. In the meantime, we want to share a couple of fun facts. Well, back in the late 1800s, Dr. John Harvey Kellogg experimented with granola. So he boiled some wheat and rolled it into thin films, and then he baked the resulting flakes in the oven. So we know the food now as corn flakes. In 1895, he launched the cereal, which overnight captured a national market. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great information. So now we know that your favorite is Frosted Flakes, Tony the Tiger.
There you go.
There you go.
Absolutely represent. I love it.
And Matthews, how about you? What's your favorite cereal?
That was the first thing that came to my mind. I remember Tony Tiger. I remember all those commercials. that is a great cereal. Great. You got that right. And it was good. I think I liked it because it had a lot of sugar in it.
That too as well too.
Most cereals are pathetically unhealthy. I ate them as a kid. With being a diabetic now, I do not eat cereal. I miss them. I miss cereal. But I did like the Frosted Flakes, and I liked Rice Krispies with a banana chopped up in it. Ooh, yeah, that was so good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So y'all have heard me explain this before. You know, when I was growing up, my parents, both in the medical field, did not allow me to have sugary cereals. I had Cheerios, I had Corn Flakes. I didn't even know what sugary cereals were until I went to college. And I saw the cereal aisle and I was like, whoa, what is this? Yeah, exactly. And that's when I tried Frosted Flakes and Cocoa Krispies and all the things that I could never eat before. Fruit Loops, oh my gosh, I had those on a daily. And now I'm settled back into plain cereals.
Yeah, I like Honey Nut Cheerios as well too. Those are really my favorite. But I love cereal because I can eat it any time of the day. It's not really just for breakfast for me. You pop it in and get pour it in and get the milk and just eat it during the night. But I do have a question though. This is a serious question, okay? Do you all put the milk in first and then do the cereal, or do you do the cereal first and then the milk? People do it different ways.
Interesting. Well, since this is a question, I'm obligated to answer. I would say cereal first and then the milk over.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that how you do it?
That's exactly how I do it.
I didn't realize that there was...
People do it, and they usually sometimes put the milk in first and then the cereal. It's so interesting to me. Ed, what do you do?
Whatever floats your boat. That's kind of weird.
Isn't it?
But I put the cereal in the bowl, and then my goal is to pour the milk in until I cover the cereal.
Right.
The other way around would be kind of difficult to do that. But
I guess technically it doesn't matter because it all tastes the same, but it's still just very interesting.
It's whatever you want to do. It's your bowl of cereal. You can do what you want to do with it, right?
Right, exactly.
Now, is there a method or a reason behind this method?
You know, I don't know. I just saw it on social media and someone was asking, and I saw people saying different answers. So I just thought it was very interesting. But, yeah.
Okay. Well, people have different
They
ways
do.
about everything. I mean, did you know that Ed Matthews has to have ranch on everything?
You know what?
Steak?
You said something about ranch. I think it was last week. I can't remember what you said you put it on. Do you remember what you
It's
said?
my steak sauce.
That is just concerning. Ed, it's concerning. What made you start doing that? What made you start doing that?
Before you get so judgmental, you ought to try it. Ranch is great on everything. And I don't know how I started that, but I've been to a restaurant before. Would you like some Heinz 57 or, some type of other steak sauce? And I said, no, just bring me a little dish of ranch dressing. And I do get a strange look from time to time.
But you can't knock it till you try it, Ed. So you know what? The next time I get a steak, I'm just going to get a little corner of ranch, just a tiny corner, and I'll think of you when I take the bite.
You'll love it.
All right.
You'll
You probably
love it.
will. All right, let's see what our friends here on the feed are saying. Lloyd, by the way, says he puts milk in the bowl, then it goes in the freezer for about 5 to 10 minutes to get it really icy.
Oh.
And then puts the cereal in it. Ty said sometimes I put ice in my cereal to make the milk as cold as possible. So that's interesting. Somebody also saying, Ed, you and your ranch dressing and peanut butter. Just saying, no judgment here. Let's see, we had another comment here that says we put the cereal first and then the milk. Trina, I'm sorry, Trina, said cereal first, then I try to see how much milk is in there. My brother does the opposite, she said. Dana said she doesn't like milk on her cereal.
Yeah, and then I just asked her, okay, so she said she just eats it plain. There we go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lakaya says, no, we have Cocoa Pops too. She says Cocoa Puffs is something that she enjoys.
Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, Cocoa Pebbles is another one that somebody has mentioned. And R. Brian says the cereal has to sink in the milk.
Oh no!
It has to be like flooded, is what I can imagine.
Wow. Okay.
That's a very good description.
Yeah. So when it gets so that it gets soggy, then because if it's soaking it, the soggy cereal, I would imagine, right?
It depends on how fast you eat it.
There you go. It's a race.
Let me give our viewers something to try, as if I don't do enough weird things with my food. Skip the milk and put a little container of yogurt in your cereal and mix it up. I don't know if you've ever done that, but that's fantastic. Really good. Yeah.
It's kind of like a parfait.
It is. That's what I was just about to say. Chick-fil-A has some good ones too. It's parfait, yeah. And people do chocolate milk as well too with cereal that is like chocolatey on that side. So like the kind of the Cocoa Puffs would imagine go good with chocolate milk. I'm not a fan of chocolate milk, but I would imagine that would be pretty good.
Yeah, well, listen, chocolate milk is the bomb. Again,
But-
it's something I experimented with in college.
And you know, Ed, I'm with you with like putting some fruits like the bananas as well
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Personally, I've never tried that. I've actually wanted to, but I can tell it's definitely probably more filling as well
Yeah,
too.
blueberries are fantastic.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're fantastic in cereal. Yeah.
That's good. Okay, so some that we haven't mentioned here, Golden Grams. Isaac Banks says he loves Golden Grams. That's his favorite. We also heard from Amber who said Frosted Mini Wheats.
Ah.
LeVar Jarrell said Captain Crunch for the win. Our Brian said Cocoa Pebbles. And let's see, Angela Wilson said Captain Crunch. Oatmeal with brown sugar is Robin's favorite. Cherie says Corn Flakes, Cheerios, and Raisin Bran. So yeah, there's a lot of different favorites out there. I mean, there's so many different kinds.
There
if you
is.
think about it. Special K, all the ones that, with all the versions they have.
The corn, what is it? They're the yellow ones, I think. The corn puffs or something
Corn
like
puffs,
corn puffs, something like that. Yeah, if you go down the grocery store aisle, you can't miss any of them. They're all there.
Seriously. All right, this has been a great conversation. Kind of got me back to my childhood a little bit, but let's go back to today. And the high temperatures are great, but it could mean some potential storms later.
Yeah, if we get to 82, it'll be a brand new record high. Our standing record 81. We'll see if we can do it. I want to review the severe weather outlook one more time from the triad and points on to the west in the yellow. Level 2, slight risk for a few strong or severe storms. And east of the triad towards Raleigh-Durham in the green area, that is the marginal risk area or level 1. So we'll watch things. The time frame we're looking at as the cold front moves through will be between about 5 p.m. and about 9 p.m. Most of the action on down east by about 9 o'clock in the evening. So the front's going to move through at a pretty good clip, but anything that fires, of course, we'll let you know about it. My greater concern is the environmental winds that I've been talking about that may gust between 45 and 50 miles per hour later on this afternoon. That could cause some damage, cause some downed trees and power lines and power outages, and we'll just watch this hour by hour and see how things progress. The winds will pick up as the cold front gets closer. And then once it moves on through, any showers and thunderstorms will be gone again around 9 o'clock this evening. Mostly cloudy, 48 tonight, cooler tomorrow, some extra clouds in mid and upper 50s. Now, another system comes in from the south and gives us a pretty good shot of a chilly rain coming up on Wednesday with a high of 52, and some of that rain will extend into Thursday, and then the possibility of more rain showers coming our way on Friday. And if we're lucky, it might turn out to be a dry weekend. Not guaranteeing that at this point, but I think after Friday, we'll all be ready for some sun.
All right, so we'll enjoy the warmer temperatures. We'll be on the lookout for potential storms, and then tomorrow we'll just deal with the cold weather.
And keep an eye out on that pollen too.
Oh yeah, in the very high category today and tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody already mentioned that they are suffering
Oh no!
right now.
Man.
All right, thanks so much for joining us on After GMS. We'll have another great set of conversations tomorrow. We'll get you updated on your headlines on the News 2 Facebook page starting at 7:45. Take care.